What's up, YouTube? I just wanted to do a deck profile on the Gravekeeper deck. I've been playing a lot lately. Currently, the record of this deck is 27-5. A majority of those were full 2 out of 3 matchups. The 5 losses, only one of those was a 2-0. That happened to be in the finals of a tournament that I just finished up. So sort of sucked to lose in the finals, but overall this deck is absolutely ridiculous. I love it. I feel like there's something I want to change in it, but I just don't know what it is yet. But with 27-5, and of those 5, only one was a 2-0 loss. The deck is always winning for me. You can thank Necro Valley for that this format. But anyways, the deck starts off as pretty standard. You got triple Descendant, triple Recruiter, triple Spy, triple Commandant. I only play one Assailant instead of 2 like GK in the past did. I just really don't like Assailant that much. I think he can be necessary, but when I want him, I'll just search for him. And then triple Veiler because you don't want to lose to Wind-Ups or Inzectors. If you're not playing against Wind-Ups or Inzectors, they give you 2 or 3 very easy side spots, which makes the deck even more ridiculous. If you win game 1, it's almost assured that you're going to win because of how easy this deck can side deck. If you lose game 1, even that still doesn't put the deck in that bad of a position unless you get sacked game 2, because the amount of space you're able to side things in for gives you a lot of advantage. And really the only thing this deck's weak to is your opponent's sided Shadow Mirrors. And even that, honestly, hasn't been a problem for me. So, anyways, we're still playing 3 Effect Veiler. On to our spell lineup. Triple Duality for the filter. I mean, it's GK. You have to play Triple Duality. But only 2 Necro Valley. I only play 2 Necro Valley. I mean, we play 3 Commandant, so we can search it. Commandants can be searched by recruiters. All of that can be found through dualities. Not to mention there's a lot of draw power in this deck if you're already filtering through the rest of the deck profile, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But you just don't need all 3 of them mained, especially with Dino Rabbit being rampant right now. Valley doesn't really do much for you in the Rabbit matchup, so you don't want it to be dead. We've got the third one sided, but you only need 2, and you don't need to be afraid of MST and things, but I'll explain some of that once I get down a little bit later in the video. We play 1 Allure because we play a lot of Darks and we like draw power. Staples, Mind Control, Book of Moon, Dark Hole. We don't play Reborn because we play Necro Valley. Only 1 Steel. Sometimes I feel like I want to have 2 Steels so I can draw it more often. But with only 1 Steel, I pretty much never dead draw it, which is the better part. Honestly, I think I'm just going to keep it at 1 Steel because I don't have room for 2, which is also the same reason we only play 2 MST instead of 3 in the main, because I don't have room for the third one, in the main deck at least. And then we play triple Shard of Greed. Now, Shard of Greed is what makes this deck playable. I honestly think GK is a sleeper this format. The deck plays ridiculously well for me. I'll explain how I play the deck in a little bit. And Shard is what makes that possible. It also keeps your Valley alive because you don't have to be afraid of your opponent's MSTs. Because you put your opponent in a catch-22. They either let you keep Necro Valley, which means you've got their graveyard shut off, or they're going to let you draw 2 cards. It's kind of a lose-lose for your opponent. Almost always. Triple Shard is ridiculous. I mean, a lot of the times the 3rd Shard becomes a card to side out. But it just more or less ensures that you get to keep Necro Valley on the board game 1. And it just scares the shit out of your opponent when they see you open, Valley, 2 or 3 back row, Shard of Greed, set a monster that Spy, go. They don't want a heavy because you either have Judgment or they're going to assume you have Starlight. I mean, it's really easy in GK. Once they see Necro Valley and a bunch of back row, it's really easy to bluff having Starlight even if you don't, because they're going to be so scared at that point. They don't want to play the heavy if they have it. Um, it's just, don't play Wonder Wand. The thing's a piece of shit. Play 3 Shard of Greed. Traps are pretty standard. I mean, Solemn, Double Warning, Double Deep Prison, Compulse, Double Trench Hole, Mirror Force, and the Starlight. You could get away with 2 Starlight Roads in the deck, but I don't want to play 42 cards. As for the side deck, we play double Sidras for matchups where they're playing Thunder Kings, Doom Cows. If you find yourself in a Dino Rabbit matchup where it seems that they play a lot of 1-for-1s, I mean, it seems like all they're doing is, summoning Sabersaurus attack or summoning Thunder King attack. It just seems like they don't have the synergy for some reason. Cyber Dragon can be a good side in there as well. It's anti-Zen mains. It's just an all-around really good side deck card. Gale, it lets you synchro if you absolutely need to. Or if you're playing some decks with some slightly bigger beaters. I really haven't used Gale in the deck, but at the same time, I would rather not feel like I need it and not have it. Same thing with Grand Mole. I haven't really utilized him in any of the games I've played with the deck, but I'd rather have him and not need him. Guard is retarded in the Rabbit matchup. I've seen the Rabbit matchup play 2 entirely different ways for GK. On one hand, they completely avoid Logia and go spam Dolka because they don't want to be running into spies and letting you search off recruiters and getting Necro Valleys with commandants. And then there's I take that back, there's 3 ways. The second way is they do nothing but Logia spam so they can stop your 1-for-1 back rows. And then you've got the players that'll try and intermingle it like Rabbit would in any normal matchup. If you've got a good read on your opponent and you know when they're going to Logia, or if they already have Logia and then you draw Guard, it's phenomenal. So if you're playing Rabbit or any of those stun matchups, Guard's just too good to not play. I mean, it's almost worth playing 2, but I could probably drop Gale or Grand Mole for another Guard, but the one's done really good for me. We play the 3rd Necro Valley for anything that plays field spells. If you have to play against Draguinity, which oddly I've seen a lot of lately, having that extra field spell is great. Any Chaos deck, I've seen quite a few Chaos Zone things lately, sort of like retakes on Courtney Waller's Kansas build, utilizing Chaos Zone for more search power and whatnot. Valley's really good there. And especially the Injectors in the wind-up matchups, you can shut down the graveyard. Smashing Ground with Bubble Beat, anything with high beat stuff, Malefics, Dino Rabbit. You got to play 2 Smashings. If I had room in the sideboard, I'd be playing 3. The 3rd MST, sometimes you need it. And then just extra trap support, extra Deep Prison, extra Compulse, Bottomlesses, and then Chain Disappearances. That's just standard. I shouldn't really have to explain those. And then after this extra deck, we got 1 Utopia, 2 Zenmeister, 2 Zenmeister because sometimes we get in that position where we can abuse Spy like ridiculous. And other times where you know your attack's going to go through. If you know your opponent's not going to be able to get anything higher than 2500, where you're not going to need that Utopia effect, you just go into Zenmeister anyway so you can avoid the Mind Control Ray steal. Speaking of using Mind Control, Utopia Ray. As for level 3s, because we play Mind Control and Recruiters, you've got Leviathan, Acid Golem, and Zenmains. And then pretty much staple synchros. We play level 4s and we play Veilers. So you play Catastar. I really don't need to be playing the level 6s, but I go ahead and play it because of the sighted Gale. We've got Bryo and Armed Wing. Same reason for Armor Master is for Gale. Um, Black Rose, Arcanite Magician, because everything we play is spellcasters. And then double Stardust. At one point, I was playing this deck with 2 Starlights in it at the very, very beginning when I built this extra deck. That second Starlight disappeared forever ago, but the second Stardust stayed in the extra deck. Just is what it is. As for how to play the deck, you have to play the deck like you would any stun deck. You have to play very slow, very controlled, and make your moves very, very concise. If you attempt to overextend almost in any way, shape, or form, it will come back to bite you in the ass. You need to use your resources only when absolutely necessary. You got to be able to read not only what's on your opponent's field, but your opponent themselves. If you're not able to make those type of calls, a deck like this isn't going to work for you. I honestly think you need to be a very, very smart player to make this deck work. But if you're able to do those sorts of things, it'll come through for you time and time and time and time again. If you have any questions about how you think the deck should be played, just comment, let me know. But you need to play minimalist. It doesn't matter how many back row you open with. Never set more than 2 unless you have Judgment or Starlight. You have to keep resources in your hand. Hoard whatever you can, because in a format like this, your opponents are going to explode on you, and you need to be able to either respond as soon as your next turn starts, or to be able to set more back row to replace whatever you lost. If you want to try and play really aggro, it's not going to work. But also, if you're playing no back row, it's not going to work. It's a very fine line. It's a very, very delicate balance. But if you can find that groove with it, it's probably one of the best decks I've played in a long time. I don't think I've ever been excited about a deck other than Heroes and next to forever compared to how I am with this. So, anyways, that's the profile. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.